Hi guys, I am coming to you today from downstairs in my house. I have a finished basement, which is like, you know, a playroom for Morgan and stuff, because it is super early in the morning. It's like 5 a.m. and I don't want to wake up the whole house, so I am filming down here. Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that this whole egg donor experience is new to me. So the videos that I did before were IVF videos, which I knew the process like the back of my hand. I could envision, you know, what I wanted my videos to be like. I can remember what I said last time. I could, you know, it was just much easier for me. But the donor egg situation is just a whole new process. So I apologize if the videos are repetitive or just, I don't know, just letting you guys know I'm just stumbling down the road. But I do want to videotape everything for you guys that are going through the same situation or thinking about going through the same situation that I am going through. So I did the IVF. When I went into that cycle, I had purchased a ton of meds, because normally I have to do like 2 or 3 stem cycles just to get a viable embryo. But with the Lupron stem cycle that I did 1 cycle and I was able to get my embryo. And then I'm deciding now not to continue with the IVF, just to switch to the egg donor. So I have quite a bit of medicine left over, and I have been trying to sell the medicine, and it's been a bit of an experience because everybody thinks that I'm gonna rip them off. It's actually, you know, kind of upsetting how jaded people are, because I guess they've gotten ripped off in the past, and you know, it's just sad. It really is. But I do have this medicine that, you know, I just want to get rid of and move on with my life. And when I buy medicine from people, it's, you know, I negotiate the price, I negotiate the terms, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. It's quite different, you know, now that I'm on the other end of it. So that's been a little frustrating for me, but you know, it takes time. I guess I'm, you know, I'm the type of person, I just want to, oh my god, it's thunder and lightning. I'm the type of person, you know, I like to move on, bang it out, move on. So that's just been a little bit frustrating for me. Let's see, I have a list here of what I want to go over, because like I said, this egg donor thing, you know, is new to me. Okay, so blood work. When when I decided to do egg donor, even though I've given blood about 3,000 times at my clinic, they had to do more blood work. So they had to take like 3 vials of blood from me that day, and they wanted my boyfriend to go in and give blood as well, even though he's given blood there a tremendous amount of times too. He had to go and give blood as well. And it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but kind of is. When he went to go give blood, he almost passed out. He said they had to give him a lollipop. But it's crazy because he's given me probably about 50 needles too. So that's why it's a little bit funny. So he went to give his blood. There's a company that does genetic testing. So they take his blood work, Rich's blood, and the blood work from the donor, and they compare the two to see if there's any matches there for any genetic disorders or anything like that. You know, if the donor egg lady is a carrier and he's a carrier, then that's not a good match. But a lot of people are carriers of things, and if your partner doesn't have it, then you're okay. So they do a little match for you. And I was talking to the girl yesterday, and she said that it takes 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, for Rich's blood work results to come back. And then they can do the testing, and then the testing, each donor person that you choose is $75 to do the test. So say I choose donor A and we do the test, and maybe the test doesn't come out good, or maybe I change my mind, I don't want to use donor A anymore, then I can test someone else, but that'll be another $75. So yeah, it's 3 weeks before his information is available to them, and it's been about a week already, so yeah, that takes a while. So I had mentioned that I wanted to do, my clinic is affiliated with Donor Egg Bank, and they have something called an assured refund program, where you pay a certain amount of money and you're guaranteed a live birth. So you have to apply to get into that program. I applied today's Tuesday, not yesterday, but last Monday. So basically they want to know, you know, they get your history from your doctor, and they want to be sure that you can get pregnant, that your lining can, you know, reach 8 millimeters thick, your uterine lining. You know, they want to see any surgeries and operations that you've had in the past. And I did have the myomectomy, but since I had my daughter after the myomectomy, I think that'll be fine, because it does show that I can get pregnant, but I'm still a little bit nervous, waiting to hear back from them. So in order to do the assured refund program, we have to get a loan. So, you know, I really tried doing that up to this point, but this is going to be the last straw anyway. So we have to get a loan. Rich is going to try to put it in his name, because right now I have some things going on that I can't put it in my name right at this moment. So we applied for that yesterday, and they have a loan program that's associated with Donor Egg Bank, and so we just applied through them, just to see what happens. Hopefully we get that. We did that last night, so that should take a couple days to let us know if it goes through. And, you know, picking a donor. So let's talk about that for a minute. Picking a donor. You know, it's really difficult to pick a donor. You know, I'm like, look, if I'm gonna pick someone, I want to pick someone who's everything I'm not. I want to pick someone who's tall, beautiful, you know, a doctor, you know, just super smart, just gorgeous. But no, doesn't work that way. Miss America is not on there giving up her eggs. You go on the site and it's normal people. Unfortunately, Donor Egg Bank, they don't use, like, you have to choose from the people that are on their site. You can't choose from any other site and they go out, like, and get eggs for you. It's just what's there. And they say they have a few hundred picks of donors, but for women of color, I mean, I would say they maybe have maybe 30, and that might sound like a lot, but it's really not. So it's a little bit of slim and pickings, but I narrowed it down to the 2 best candidates that I saw, and the 2 that I narrowed down, they're not horrible. So the girl that I wanted to go with, my sister looked at the profile, she didn't really like it, so I'm gonna wind up probably going with the other one. I just switched it. You can actually put your eggs on hold. So they told me that during this whole application process, I can put my eggs on hold, and then after I've been accepted, I have to provide financing within 5 days to get those eggs. So they'll hold the eggs 5 days after financing. No, sorry. They will hold the eggs 5 days after the approval to give you time to get financing. And if you don't get financing in those 5 days, then those eggs go off hold. So that's how I picked the donor. I mean, you know, you go through, they have pictures of her, they have full body pictures, they have baby pictures, they have career information, you know, whether they went to college, what they do. They write a little bit of an essay to tell you about themselves. You know, I wish there was more information, but you know, I was looking on different sites and that's pretty much standard. You know, I wish there was more pictures, even though there's probably like 6 or 7 pictures. You know, I wish there was more. So the next thing that I'm gonna do today, actually, I'm gonna do a saline sonogram. That's one of the things that were on the checklist, but you have to wait until you get your period, because it has to be done, I think, between day 5 and 10 after you get your menstrual. So today I'm going to do the saline sonogram, and next week we're going to do the psychological evaluation. That's another thing on the checklist. They said it's like a 90-minute meeting that you have to have with the psychologist to go over things. One thing they keep asking me is, which I have a feeling she's gonna ask me, like, are you gonna tell the child? Like, how are you gonna tell the child? When you're gonna tell the child? That's something I really didn't think of until I went to the orientation class, because I was just like, well, do you have to tell them? You know, what's the big deal? But you know, they had a point, like, what if you get in, you know, when you're at the doctor, what if your kid gets into an accident and they want to know family history, or maybe your blood types don't match? You know, it's good, you know, to tell the child something, so they're prepared for questions like that. So I think maybe she's gonna ask me stuff like that, like, what are we gonna do in that aspect. And so right now that's where we are in the process. Right, I'm here for my saline sonogram, and I had to give a urine sample, which I didn't realize. So I used the bathroom when I first got here, and then they told me I have to give a urine sample, so I had to drink like 3 cups of water. But I'm finally in the room, and we're gonna get ready to do the saline sonogram. And I have to pee again. I just got out of the saline sonogram, and it didn't take long. You know, once I was able to give her the sample, we went into I went into the room, I undressed from the waist down, and they put that, the first thing she did was put that it's so hot in here. the first thing she did was put that tool that they use for patch smears inside of me, so it was a little uncomfortable. I hate that thing. It's like a bracket or a brace. So she puts that in, and then I really couldn't see what she was doing, but I can tell you what I felt. She put that in, and then she, for like a couple seconds, and then for like a minute or two, I'd say for like a minute or two, and then she took that out. She put something else in that was much smaller, and then she started shooting saline into my uterus, which I could see on the screen, and I could feel the saline like dripping out. They put a pad underneath you, and she took still shots of my uterus as the saline was in there. There was something growing on my uterus. It's either a fibroid or a polyp. So I'm gonna have to have it removed. I mean, the doctor that did it today isn't my doctor, so I didn't know, you know, she couldn't really tell me too much, but she just told me, you know, whatever's there, it's either a fibroid or a polyp, and, you know, it has to be removed. I have to have surgery to remove it before I could get pregnant. So I'm gonna have to have surgery to get that removed. So that's gonna be the next thing that I have to deal with now. My doctor, just to have a phone consultation with her, she had no room in her schedule. So they're gonna call me back later and see if she can squeeze me in for a phone consultation. That's where we are today. It's always something.